Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to round number 7 of the Radical Sim Racing Americas Tour. We're here with the Pro-Am division. 2 rounds left to go in their season, and we are at Silverstone in England, and it is going to be one fantastic show tonight. Just a few minutes left in practice, and I am joined by the one and only Dean Biggles. Dean, how you doing this evening?
I'm good, mate. Welcome back to the birthplace of motor racing, essentially, here in the United Kingdom. Being an old World War II airfield and a smart one these days, it's built on a plateau, of course, for its runways. As we go around the outside is what will be the perimeter track. First of ever Formula One races used to be back here in 1950. It's always super fast, and today it's not too much different from that. But we're not going to do this Formula One cars around here. Of course, we're going to do the Radical World Series cars around here. It was first used, this track was first created as a bunch of ad hoc blokes got together there and set up an improv race back in September 1947. And one of their members that used to live in the nearby village was aware that the airfield was deserted. So him and a couple 11 other drivers raced over about a 2-mile circuit, of course, which one of them ran over a sheep that wandered onto the airfield. And therefore they said, hey, let's call it the Mountain GP. Of course, now these days it's when it changes from all the way back then, but it's still one of those classic drivers that everybody wants to win.
Yeah, in Silverstone, this is the legacy track of Silverstone, so don't get it mixed up with the new Silverstone you'll see on track and in the Formula One racing. Now, these guys are on the old setup of this track, which is going to cause a little bit of nostalgia for these drivers. They're so used to racing on this, the newer updated version here in the iRacing sim, that it really makes you think about what corners you're actually going to be taking and where they're at. I'm not exactly sure what all corners they had changed due to the both being so similar, but yet, I mean, you still got Maggots and Beckett's are basically the same. That's about all I know about this track here. But they are on the legacy version, so it's going to be a little bit different from what you're used to seeing recently. And qualifying is just getting ready to start. We saw Greg Seitz was at the top of the speed charts for the end of practice there, and now we've got 10 minutes for these drivers lone qualifying to see what they've got waiting for them in these SR10 cars.
You're exactly right, Rob. Perhaps you can give us an onboard lap around here, and you can see soon the drivers as it gets a little loud. That's Greg, I believe. He is currently making his way through Beggarts, Maggots, and Chapel right there. As you're gonna, well, Chapel's here a little early on that one. Daylight dollar short. Down the hangar straight. DRS to be activated if you're at a Formula One car. At the moment, just trying to activate a bit of temperature in these tires. And then down into Stowe Corner, turn 7. Right here, a nice high-speed part of the track that you could possibly sometimes with Bold and Brave get an overtake done. Make your way all the way down to the Vale chicane. This is a bit of a kink in turn 8 right here, as you will swing it over to the left there. And then you're going to go hard right to turn 8, and then of course you got the club, and it's club because you're going around the old famous clubhouse. And then you make your way down one of the other main straightaways, and of course you're going to come up to the Abbey corner. Those famous ones. Swing it over to the left, that's turn 11. And then sharply swing it over to your right-hand side, down the farm straight. Of course, it used to be a farm here, underneath the bridge. And then swing it up to turn 14, on the top of the hill, really, the elevation changes. And then down, down, down. This turn keeps turning. And once again, it'll turn left again for a very sharp 15. Entrance in here, and then you got to swing it all the way around Luffield. That's a big sweeping turn 16. It feels like one of those turns never ends. You thought you went through that one before there for turn 14. And then primarily around Woodcote, and that go down into the pit straight. This is the other pit straight away car. There it is, and then you go up to Cops for turn 1. That is your legacy of Silverstone.
That is one lap there with Greg Seitz. He is not on top of the board at the moment. They're still waiting for some laps to come in. He is just a few points ahead of this guy right here, Lucas Vieira. And the battle is heating up. Vieira missed last week, so Seitz is just a little bit further ahead let's take a look at our pro points at the moment while these guys are getting their wind-up laps. Sites took a fairly decent lead over Vieira, but that doesn't mean too much. We have quite a few drivers here in the field tonight, and one mistake can drop you down quite a bit. Vieira didn't make the last race, had something going on, so that was a totally missed race, and he's still within 70 points of Sites, and we've seen drivers gain over 100 points in a weekend, so don't count Vieira out of this championship quite yet.
No, not if there's points up for grabs. That's for the Pro Series. And how about the AM Series as well, too? Mr. Rob.
Oh, yeah, we can take a look at
them.
AM's drivers at the moment. Richard Hearn here is fairly far out front, but Christopher Reagan is starting to catch Richard Hearn. And being that he's 40 points, the difference now, I think there could be a battle heating up for the championship here right at the end.
That is very close, and don't count out Manuel as well, hanging out there 208 points between for the Canadian driver there and the Elite West racing team, of course, of Rich and Christopher, the ones that looking to secure that one, but it ain't over yet until Barney waves a flag for the final time this season. It's good to see. It's good to know. Thank you very much for that too. Yeah, Rob, right on cue with your fantastic production. So Rob, of course, is sitting in the production trailer, trackside, here on Silverstone. I hope you're enjoying the meat pies and all the other cuisines you're going to find here in the United Kingdom, my friend. Go down to the local pub there and play the fruity machines if you need to. It's basically like the pokey machines, but they're only allowed 1 or 2 in a pub. And that's right, a pub, not a bar, in the United Kingdom. And great production work. I'm looking forward to this race, mate. Are you?
Oh, I am definitely looking forward to it. Sorry about the audio errors, folks. We had some controls mixed around here, so we got them all figured out. We got Biggles just by himself, and then we got iRacing by itself. We don't have any doubles. Sorry about any of that noise problem, but we are ready to go racing. Not too long away from here, so it is going to be just under 5 minutes. Vieira is still on top of Sites at the moment, but not by too much. Let's take a look at these guys' last lap times. And Vieira out front by almost a half a second over top of Greg Sites, and Richard Hearn right there with him, not too far behind Sites, as Moncada is going to move up to second place with a 141.952. Only 0.04 a second behind Vieira. So the rest of the field is starting to actually catch these guys here at Silverstone.
Yeah, the 141 clubs. There's only 2 of those drivers at the moment. That's Lucas and Awan. They're doing a fantastic job, but that's a very, very quick time. We still have a couple of drivers yet to put a time on the board. Diego's not even in the session currently at the moment, the 26 car. We have Kansas and A. Tyler Brown yet to set times. But they are in the different classes, of course, the pros. And you'd have to say Mr. Richard Hearn leading, per se, the AM's class there, but very closely once again. Just behind them is Mr. Manuel Sorazito. I'm really going to butcher that name. You know, I'm the closest that there is to Colombia as well, too. You would think I would know, because I'm in Panama, just a little bit north, of course, of Colombia. You'd think I would know Spanish. I'm sorry, Manuel. I do apologize. I'll get it right one day. I had a couple more races to get it done, but maybe. We'll see.
So, yeah, the battle between Solorzano and Hearn still heating up. 1/10 of a second on the racetrack. That could be made up and waft in some of these really long straights that they have here. These radical cars, they really pick up on that draft. Being low, high downforce cars, any little bit of air that they can take off these cars' front nose is going to make these things accelerate out of the box. We're going to probably see quite a few overtaking opportunities in the big braking zones and possibly a few wrecks in Maggot and Beckett's.
You guaranteed something to happen here at Silverstone. That's why it's one of those tracks that everybody loves, because it has the opportunity for people to get those overtakes done. Of course, you've got upfield and all those crazy corners down 15, 16. the Vale, the club, and in the regular Formula One track, that's where the club, you come out of club, that would be your general start finish line in an F1 race. In these configurations, the legacy configuration, it is the situation. The pit road is after Woodcote, that's where the F2 pit straights are. That's called the F2 pit straights because that's generally what other racing leagues do. My electricity is cutting in and out a little bit, so hopefully it'll be good. I have a battery backup, but we have about 1 minute left of the, well, exactly, lone qualifying to go. And at the moment, Mr. Lucas, the Brazilian mastermind on Wheels TV racing team, looking to be the quickest here.
Yeah, he's out front with a 141.8. And Greg Seitz still back in P6, really struggling today. So this is the chance that Vieira needed if Seitz is going to continue to struggle here at Silverstone, or if he's sandbagging a little bit just to have some fun with the points race. Who knows exactly what's going on with his mind. I know those two are very fierce competitors, and they seem to be decent friends outside of the racetrack. So maybe Seitz is giving Vieira just a little bit here to give him a chance at gaining some points, but if not, he is back with a 142.7, almost a second off Vieira's pace. With 30 laps and 30 seconds, he's not going to be looking too shabby for taking any decent points home at the end of this race.
I think for now, qualifying is one thing, but race results are another. So you're going to have to just earn that on the track right now. A bit of work to do, exactly as you mentioned, with Mr. Greg. He's got in the Rust Racing team, he's in P7. He's main championship contender, of course. That's second in championship, 37 points that you'd mentioned. It's Lucas in there. So there's a gap of at least 6 cars between them. But trust me, we all seen before in the past, isn't it? Greg is very capable of making up 6 positions. And once again, qualifying is one thing, but race results when you earn your paychecks.
Well, let's see, Kansas Gentry going to be taking third place, as Salarzano moved way up top with Richard Hearn and threw me off a loop. So there we have it. That's going to be the end of qualifying. We'll take a look at our field here, and we got some drivers mixing it up. Lucas Vieira takes the pole with just over half a tenth of a second over Richard Hearn. So Richard Hearn and Manuel Salarzano really on pace today with the pro drivers. Stephen Place going to be starting 4th with Juan Moncada taking 5th, starting right next to his team Radline driver. Mateus Marias going to be starting 6th with Greg Seitz in that number 74 Rust Racing machine starting in 7th. That has got to be a difficult starting spot there for Seitz, with Kansas Gentry starting alongside in 8th, Horvana Shavorgian in 9th, Joel Jacqueline in 10th, Reagan is 11th, Krasick 12th, Brown 13th, and Diego Zuccarelli is going to finish our field.
And they're going to be gritty up. Thank you very much for going through that. Exactly. A bit of a mix between the AM Pro class and our daughters, I think, out there, if I get your name correctly, it says, let's go Lucas. Awesome. Sounds like a very Brazilian name and a very Brazilian supporter, so good on you for supporting him. See if Lucas can get that win. He has number 1 next to his name in the car, so he's not number 1 in the championship. That's the thing, but today could be one of those decisions to get him number 1 in the championship as you get closer and closer to the end of the season as they grid up. Your famous director and broadcaster, of course, is Mr. Rob. I can't pronounce your surname, mate.
Sluiter.
You can't say that one. Sorry?
Sluiter.
Sorry?
It is
Sluiter. Rob
Dutch.
Sluiter
Yep,
there, yeah.
Sluiter. And we're just waiting for these lights to come on. These drivers, 14 of them here at Silverstone and the Radical Sim Racing Americas. Thanks for joining us here on JP Broadcasting live on YouTube. The action is about to start. Lights coming on. And they're out. We're racing here in Silverstone. 30 minutes of racing right here on JP Broadcasting. Vieira, Hearn, and Place get a great start. Salarzano, not so much. Falls back just a little bit. And these guys going really tight through turns number 1 and 2. And lots of side-by-side racing. already.
Yeah, that made a fantastic run through Cops, of course, high speed. But now you have to slow it down. You got to make your way through the famous S's of all famous S's. Somebody goes off into the background and really off into the really grass that should be mowed a little bit. We'll talk to some of the stewards about that one later on. But here we go. The battle is definitely heating up at the moment for around the P3, P4, P5, P6 positions. On your cameras, on your pictures right now.
Oh,
live.
and they're going 3 wide. Mateus Marias trying to hold off Solorzano and Place. And he does a successful job at it. He's going to hold on to that 3rd position, and Vieira is starting to pull away. Oh, we've got a lockup behind him. Is that Juan Moncada? Juan Moncada goes off the track with a massive lockup. Luckily, he didn't get into the wall, but he's definitely going to lose quite a bit of time.
Yeah, luckily, he's got 30 minutes of time trying to make up for that one. But yes, a few little runoffs that you'd expect to occur at the start of the race at Silverstone, but it is so far so good, especially for the Brazilian. And make that, oh, he's lost the position. He has lost the position. So Lucas now has been passed by the Elite West Racing team of Richard, P1. So now it's the Brazilians in P2 and P3.
And I don't know what happened there. Vieira had almost a half a second on Richard Hearn. And I don't know if we just missed a long straightaway where Hearn got a draft or what, but look at that lap. Richard Hearn of 150.206. Oh, 0.2 of a second faster than Vieira on that lap.
Yeah, maybe get a little replay of that one going back there, that pass on track, because that was, I think that would have to be down into, we're another lap. So that's probably out of Luffield, somewhere around there, Luffield Woodcote.
Oh,
there
and
it is.
Vieira goes wide.
Yeah, there it is.
Oh, Vieira makes a mistake early on in the race. Usually we only see Vieira making mistakes when Greg Seitz is behind him, but Seitz is down back into 5th place now, moving up a little bit here. And that's going to allow Mateus Marias and Stephen Place to start catching up to these two. Not too much distance, just 2 seconds separate the front two from these two. But the battle's really heating up. Lucas Vieira wants to get that front spot back, and he wants to run away, but I think Richard Hearn's going to have something to say as Vieira makes another mistake, gets a little bit loose up on them curbs. These cars are really low to the ground. You can't get too high up on them curbs, otherwise it'll unsettle you, and you'll lose a little bit of traction and lose a little bit of time. So I have to imagine what Richard Hearn is thinking in this point. He's got the lead. He's an AM driver, and he just passed Vieira, and he's now holding him off so far. How much nerves is really going to get to him? There's 26 minutes left here. How long do you think Richard Hearn can hold Vieira off, or do you think he's just going to let him go?
I think it's patience too between the top two drivers. You have plenty of time. You've got 26 minutes, of course, remaining in this race. So as long as they don't allow each other to get too far, because they got a nice gap. That let's at 2.6 seconds. You go on board right now, Mr. Lucas. Yeah, 2.6 second gap. So it's not a problem to the cars back behind them. If you don't mind actually switching that gap over to interval in a minute, so we can keep an eye on that. But yeah, so, and then of course you got Stephen Place putting up the challenge there to the other Brazilian driver in P3 of Mathis. And obviously Greg also trying to defend,
and he makes a
was
move.
an overtake. Yep. He's going to make it stick, but he's gone too deep.
Oh!
I thought that was a little bit of an overspeed moment, and you can easily overspeed
Oh, and I
as you
see
make your way
another
through
driver.
Stowe.
Is that Javorski? No, that's Christopher Reagan. He locks up and goes out. I don't know if he got into the wall.
I don't think so. There's a nice runoff area, of course, here in Silverstone. We'll see in the broadcast replay. This is Christopher. Now, this is Christopher by himself. Now, he's just gone too hard.
Oh, he
too
touched the
fast into that
grass.
corner.
He got into the
Yeah.
grass, and it upset it in the braking zone. He didn't get into the wall, so that's lucky for him. Mateus Marias, though, in 3rd place there, is under fire from Steve Place, and Place has now got Seitz all over in his mirrors.
Yeah,
so Seitz is starting to work his way back up. I don't think he's got the fastest lap quite yet. We'll take a look at everybody's fast lap, and
Yeah, but,
he
but
does.
Greg Seitz, my friend, he's just brilliantly working for him. He loves his battles up the road because it's bringing him back into place. It's exactly what it's to be. Steve is in place, of course, in P4. Sorry, Steve, there's the bad puns. Look at that. He may be a little bit more into P3 in the moment, considering the exit speeds that are occurring up the road here right now. And yes, you're right. On cue, my friend. Greg does have the fastest lap right now.
And yeah, he just put down the fastest lap of the race once more on this past lap. So going faster and faster is Seitz. You have to wonder, is he using it up trying to get to the front? Or does he just have that pace over top of everybody else? Stick around here on JP Broadcasting. 25 more minutes left to go. And there goes
Stevie.
Place around Marias. And
That's
can he
difficult.
hold it off? It's going to be a long braking zone right here with a left-hand turn. Marias tries to keep the inside. He keeps it inside, but he's going to lose that place to Place. And now Seitz is going to be on his tail, but I don't think Marias is going to let Stephen Place go too far if he can help it.
Well, now you got a little bit of a tricky section of Abbey coming up. Swing it to the right-hand side. It's turn 12, and you got a little bit of the farm straight. Now you get even more of a tricky section here, as you can see on the track map right there. That's your turns of the 14, 15, and Loftfield, of course. And this is pretty much just a follow each other moment. You'd be bold and brave if you're going to send anything up the inside of here right now, because there's short entrance and exits. It's all about controlling racing lines. All about the exit of Woodcote right now, I think, turn 17, about here. To make a little bit of a run down the pit straight to start another lap, and then see if anybody's going to be bold and brave to go side by side through Cops. Don't talk to Lewis Hamilton and Max Verstappen about that in the past.
And Vieira puts down the fastest lap. He joins the 141 club with a 141.58, and he's actually going to take the lead right there. Not sure what happened to Richard Hearn, but Vieira flies by Hearn and already a half a second over top of Hearn. No wonder, did he get any damage on that car?
I think he got too deep in the Cops. Usually, if you're getting overtaken before you get into Beggar's Magnuson Chapel, that means you made a little mistake out of Cops. It comes to high speed, remember? Like, I'm not sure if you're lifting off in these cars. You're certainly planning it somewhere on the line. And as a further action, you can see this Juan Moncada.
Yeah.
At the back of the field here for crucial points, of course, with just under 22 minutes remaining in this race and trying to hold off as much as you can. Look at that. AM class and pro classes are all split throughout the whole field.
Yeah, Kansas Gentry trying to get by Moncada. Moncada trying to hold Gentry off while trying to get by Tyler Brown. These three battling for 10th position at the moment. The closest battle on the track, though, as these three battle it out. Charles Krasik is in a small battle with Gevorgian up ahead, but this is our close three-way battle for 10th position. Moncada, he really wants to get his car up there. He made that mistake and went off a little bit. You know he's got the pace as he looks to the inside of Brown right here. Like you said, you gotta have some nerves to dive into the inside, and he's smart and pulls it back in line. But his team ran line driver teammate Stephen Place, he's up there in third place right now, and he's making moves and making points. So you know that Moncada wants to get up there and help out with them team championship points as well.
We'll see how they take it to the Cops. Yeah, but further back, as you can see, that battle, that's further forward, as you mentioned, for the P6 and P7 battle. That's Charles, you can see right now on your pictures. That's the 53 machine, all in nice orange. Almost think he's a Dutch driver, but he's actually driving from the United States of America.
And this is a battle, I believe, for the second position in the AMs. Oh, no, sorry. That is Gevorgian behind him, so that's going to actually be the third position in the AMs. The 7th and 8th on the racetrack. And
now since Lucas took the lead, he's also putting the blistering laps in by about... he's still keeping Richard Hearn. Richard Hearn's keeping him honest, I'd have to say, for the battle for P1, P2. They still got that gap to Stephen Place that made that fantastic overtake before to get that Canadian driver up into P3. I always just look at this, and I'm so unfortunate from a Formula One background. I just like the DRS activations, that crucial 1 second. But It is actually really relevant here, as that's not the best places to overtake, as I mentioned before, as you make your way through 14, 15, and Lovefield finally around this corner now. Coming up soon, actually, you're going to be swinging a little bit left before Lovefield. As you see on your track map, that's the 10 car we're following. Now they're going through 15. That's a very tight corner coming up here and then swinging around for Lovefield. Now, that's the corner I was looking for.
Oh,
I'm so used to the regular Formula 1 track, I get confused, so apologies out there, everybody.
See, coming up here is why I love Silverstone. These corners that you take at such high speeds, but you don't realize how fast you could really take these corners. They look like full 90-degree, gotta slow down corners, but when you get in a car and you go take some of these corners, you're like, man, I can't believe how fast I'm actually going.
Lewis Hamilton, Max Verstappen on a massive crash, remember, that caused a massive controversy in cops. So that is a heavy impact, of course, and that's why it's a high-speed corner. You barely lift through there. Didn't show you downshifting. I'm not quite sure with these cars, but it's super speed. I was on board with Mathis Moranis there, the number 6 Brazilian driver, currently running in P4. He's Brazilian countryman's leading this race with Lucas, but Mr. Stephen Place is up the road after taking that position back from him, gaining 1 place for Stephen, getting 2 places for this number 6 on wheels racing team driver. I'm so scared every time I see these cars right now, thinking, where's your halo? You flip this thing upside down, you're in trouble. There's a little obviously roll bar above the head, but it's just so unusual not to see halos on cars anymore. Open wheels, of course, as well.
And these two are actually slowly catching Richard Hearn. It looks like Vieira now has over a 2-second gap over Hearn. And these two drivers starting to catch up. So
yeah, as well as Lucas just putting another banker lap in, mate, going even quicker. 2 seconds and change down the road there from Richard Hearn. So now time is on his side, 17 minutes to go. And once he got that overtake done, so he got overtaken by Richard. He did start in P1. Richard then overtook him. And then Lucas said, not on my watch, because the key thing for Lucas's championship battle is that Greg is down in P5. Greg's leading the championship for 18 points. Lucas is on 337. So this is a great time for Mr. Lucas to maximize his on-wheels TV racing team and get himself all the points he possibly can here.
Now, is this just Greg Seitz knowing where he has to finish in order to be able to win the championship next week? You know, where he has to finish to get it. I mean, Vieira didn't have a week off, so he's got that little bit of gap. Is this just him making sure he gets good, solid points and it prepares for the battle for last week's championship? Is that what you think Seitz is doing right here? Because we all know Seitz has got some power underneath him. We've seen what he can do. We've seen him run away from the whole field. We've seen Vieira do the same thing. But it's hard to believe that Lucas Vieira is pushing out a 141.5 and Seitz is pushing out a 142.1. It seems a little too much of a time gap to me to be an absolute push pace. You know what I mean?
Well, Rob, to bring those questions are actually very great. It's the fact, too, that Greg's not in clean air, so he can't. I mean, you've got to remember, too, that Lucas is in clean air, so he's got nothing up the road. He's got no dirty air. He doesn't have to, following a car is difficult, especially if you're in Greg's shoes right now. If a car makes a mistake up the road or whatever, and you're in the back of him, all of a sudden you're out of potential points. That's something you don't want to be. And on top of it, I don't think he's just sitting back there waiting, as we're going to look at this overtake first. We'll get back to that one in a second. That's Cops, is it? Yes, it is. That's Cops. High-speed corner, as I mentioned. That's your pit lane, not your pit lane entrance, of course, but it could be a three-way battle here. But then again, somebody's got to back off because you've got to really compromise your racing line through Beckett's, Mackers, and Chapel. You want to be a straight shooter, really. That's what they say about the S's. You want to cut it as short as you possibly can. Now, you go wide right now. You compromise exit speed, as you're watching right now from Christopher on the 119 machine. Now, he's lucky that I believe that's Tyler Brown just there. Got a better exit speed. And now it's just follow the leader cars up the road there through the tricky sections, of course, of Abby and... Oh, not like that!
Oh, Tyler Brown.
And Dad, I don't even know if there was any contact there. Has he got the power down too early and the rear slipped out? It didn't look like contact, but we don't always see the best pictures on the broadcast. But yeah, have a look at the replay of this one.
Oh.
Yeah, have to go back a little bit further, I think, because we're looking at the end of the spin. Here we go. Now look at the
Yep, he
separator.
got in
Now,
the grass.
yeah, he's hit the stop pedal, and the car's just gone. It's locked up and spun him to the right. We think, anyway. Sometimes there could be the N word, the net code word we don't like to use too often, but that could. I didn't think they were close enough for that to really occur. But once again, we're not in the racing shoes of these radical racing drivers here for the AM's Pro
Richard
Championship.
Hearn makes a mistake. He goes off track. That is going to allow Stephen Place to come right on his tail. Just caught that Hearn went off track just for a moment.
Yeah,
and
get
that
the
killed
replay
a
up at that
lot
one,
of
because that's
Place.
definitely going to bring everybody, not just at Mr. Stephen Place, but also Matthias. Let's have a look. Now, is this Cops 2-speed? Yes, it's Cops again, I think.
Ooh.
Going way too deep. Yeah, there's your Beckett, Smackers, and Chap up the road there, and that's what you come by. Now, you know, he's very lucky, actually, that he happened to lose it just there, because it's chased the driver through here, as I said. Because if there's no overtaking through this part of the track. Not very often, anyway. But all that means now is that Lucas, in the lead of this race, now has a 4-second gap. So he doesn't have to really risk it for the biscuit anymore to dominate this race with 13 minutes to go.
But now we've got a 4-way battle for second place with Hearn, Stephen Place, Mateus Marias, and Greg Seitz here now in 5th place. All close enough to really battle for position. We are just over halfway, 13 minutes left to go in the race here. They are working on lap number 10 in the books, and you have to think tires are going to start possibly falling off, and now that these guys up here are going to start battling, what's to say that a couple of these drivers go a little wide, hit some grass, and now we've got Solorzano and Krasik and Jacqueline in 6th, 7th, 8th looking at 2nd, 3rd, and 4th. So
have a look at Greg.
Absolutely crazy here.
Sorry, cut you off there, Rob. But have a look at Greg. Go on board with Greg. It seems to me he's smooth operator right here. He's like the Carlos Sainz. Look at the way the other cars. Look at the way the rears are slipping out a little bit, and the way they're tiptoeing around here. Greg is just like on rails. He's cool, calm, and collective. This is the reason why the man's leading the championship, but. You know, he's not also sending anything up the inside, taking a massive risk, because you mentioned before in the championship, especially with the fact that Lucas is right up the road, and in fact probably keyed to win this one. Greg's just pacing his time, knowing, all right, well, damage limitations, I say, from his qualifying performance, but look at the entrance. Look at how he hits the chicane, and the car's he's not fighting it. See, he's not fighting the steering wheel. He's not having to snap it left and right. The cars up the road are. I'm just seeing that they are struggling a little bit more, and Greg, I think he's just biding his time a little bit to maybe seize an opportunity, or just perhaps wait to see if any problems up the road occur, so he can still steal a couple of positions. As we replay back further, what happened here?
Had an issue with Kansas Gentry. Sends it in.
Oh, snap! Snapped it.
Trying to save it. Yep, there it is.
Because at that point you have to turn right, and the rears to see hit the brake and it's locked and gone straight a little bit. And actually a great recovery, because believe it or not, you could have hit a lot worse than that one, and back went in the right direction. So once again, continuing this one, I don't think Greg is sandbagging or anything like that. I think he's just not happy with the qualifying performance he's done. He knows, and you don't want to put yourself in a situation, my friend, when you get down to the nail biters of a championship, that you could have secured it perhaps a little bit earlier. And then you're fighting now in an opportunity where anything could go wrong. Now, if all of a sudden he's spinning in the wrong direction in the last couple of races when he's leading the championship, and then all of a sudden Lucas is up the road there and maximizing points, then that could be Road's championship over. So I guarantee you these drivers are fighting tooth and nail. There is no way that they're going to be sitting back thinking, well, I have no problems. The championship's mine. No, that ain't going to happen, because in motor racing, anything can happen.
Take a look at Joel Jacqueline trying to make a few moves, trying to get back Krasik to get into the top 3 of the AMS division. Krasik doing a solid job holding on, and then Moncada has moved his way up to 9th.
And keep an eye on Stephen Place as well, too. He's really putting some pressure there on Richard Hearn. Of course, I know you've got a couple of battles to go on at the same place at the same time. Yes, Stephen Place. Those puns are coming thick and fast. But Stevie's used to it. Don't worry about it, the Canadian driver. And in fact, he has to hold off that bunch behind him, doesn't he? He has the other Brazilian driver behind him. He also has the championship leader of the pro class behind him. All this is not a problem right now for Mr. Lucas leading this race, but how's it going to pan out? 2 mini battles on track, isn't it, that you're seeing? Battle for P3 and the battle course for P7.
Ooh, and this is the follow each other around spot. Jacqueline's going to get by Krasik. Krasik's going to send it way up the inside. They do make contact. They both go wide. And now Moncada's going to send it up the inside. 9 minutes left to go, and these guys really trying to make moves. Krasik holds both of them off, but Moncada now gets by Jacqueline. And Moncada's going to send it up the inside of Krasik. He's going to get into the grass and sideways. Oh my gosh,
maybe.
Oh, and they might make contact. Now they're 3 wide. Oh man, these guys are really on one right now. What a battle we are seeing. And
somebody's
Krasik
off,
goes
I
off
think.
track.
I saw a little puff of smoke. Yes, he's off.
Oh, Charles Krasik.
That's too deep through Beckett's Chapel for sure. Have a look at this. So he was leading it, and then this is where you get in a tricky section. Oh, no,
he
right
touched that
there.
grass on the left-hand corner. Slides off. He doesn't get into the wall though, so that's good.
Yeah, that's because the Queen doesn't have her corgis go out there and do their business on the corners there of Silverstone anymore. But further back to the action, this is where it's also brewing up.
Gets by Richard Hearn for second place. Lucas Vieira now almost 5 seconds over top of these drivers, but Marias is now going to be on Hearn's tail, looking to try to get that On Wheels TV race team to get a double podium. With only 7.5 minutes to go, he's only got to do is pass one car, and he could get another double podium for that team, and that will definitely help them with the Rust Racing drivers currently being in 5th and 9th position.
Yeah, Rob, I'm still really impressed if Greg might have got a little bit off-track excursion there. But this is going to be something that's threatening drivers. You got Greg in the background, and you can see he's not on the tailpipe. I think he's definitely lifting and not attempting anything just yet. He knows he's got 7 minutes and change. I think he's more concerned. See, he's not going to send one here. That's a dummy. I think he's just more wanting to see how this panning out in front of him. And obviously on the radio there before. And look at that, exit speed. But he's lifted. He had to lift. And now he's probably going to have to mount the challenge, of course. Yes, it is. Because he can't afford to lose that much more time right now. Goes around the outside. But you can't make it stick there, my friend. That's going to scrub you a lot of speed. Maybe he's well aware of that too. A little off-track excursion. But look at the exit speed you're going to have out of the corner. But unfortunately, the track's going to run out of time. But obviously, keep an eye out for that 74 machine lurking in the background. If anything happens up the road, he's going to seize the opportunity. Is he playing it too safe? Because it doesn't look like the Greg that is going for an opportunity. But then again, we are still early days. He's well aware that he's got 5 minutes and change here. This will be the run now. I have to say, this will be the run. This is an opportunity. Maybe in Cops, if he gets the exit speed, no, he'll follow through. And looking for a mistake, I guess, up the road from Mathis. And now you're going to have to follow through the all classic of Baggett's, Magnuson, Chapel. Happy to do that. I think he's happy to just follow at the moment and chase his cars and see how it pans out. But I'm interested to see when he's going to look at pouncing soon, because I don't think there's nothing you can do about Lucas up the road for now. As I just had that's okay. We're good to go. Yep. Oh, that was you. Yeah, I had a little bit of a pause of a moment as that happened, and oh. Uh-oh. Yep. Change to get something down here. He wants to damage levitation, of course, with Lucas second in the championship in the lead of this race, looking to secure this race win. And he's going for it right now. No, he's tucked in behind again. He's waiting for the last possible minutes, perhaps, to do something about this one. Rob? I can't even share screen anything to you at the moment. I'm even on Discord. Even that's not working for me. Are we live on the air? All right, that's cool. I'm still going to try to do the audio casting for you at the moment as best that I can. Welcome along to the radio entertainment here at the moment, the Radical World Series. But yes, it's still the same thing. This is Craig. Greg is last possible, maybe the very last. He's got about 2 minutes and change left of this race, and he's still on the back of Mr. Mathis Morenas, the Brazilian driver running in P4. Now, still, the lead has not changed. Lucas is leading this one. Stephen Place is in P2. Richard Hearn is in P3. But the closest battle is definitely Greg and the 74 machine doing everything he possibly can to try to find a way around Mr. Matthias. But Matthias and the number 6 machine there from Brazil as well is probably help, but trying to defend his Brazilian teammate, not teammate, but countrymate, to hold off possible points in the championship. The AM class.
Right, and sorry about those issues, folks. I'm not exactly sure why iRacing decided to stop working for us, but we are back with 1.5 minutes left to go. Vieira is still out front by 5 seconds. Stephen Place in second, Richard Hearn in third, and we are seeing the battle for fourth between Mateus Marias and Greg Seitz. Seitz definitely wants to get those extra points from that position, but he doesn't want to incite any risk towards his championship hopes, because he makes one mistake and goes off track and even hits something. It's a long way around for another lap with 55 seconds left to go. You know he's going to have to do at least one more, so he's really got to keep it safe until he at least knows he can get across the finish line in a good spot.
This is it, I'd say. This is the opportunity, one of the opportunities, of course, going to the cops. You'd have to also give it to Mateus, as he's also defending very, very well, knowing where the attacks are on. But can he defend here in the cops' corner? He can. It's all probably going to be another one about the exit out of Chapel then. Turn 6 is going to follow him as you're on board right now. Following him through Meggetts. Beckett, see the speed differences. He's had to lift off big time. As Mateus made a little bit of a mistake going through there, and you can't make a mistake when you're off the racing line through these crazy fast S's, and that actually might have compromised an opportunity down in the hangar straight right now as you're watching. And Stowe's coming up, but that's not really a passing opportunity too, because it's a high-speed corner just like Cops. And now he's going to really run down Vale, maybe. Turn 8 coming up. Has he got the overspeed moment? Yes, he is. He's got to tuck up. But Vale, remember, is a sweeping left-hand corner. And then, of course, he'll turn to 9 to the right. He's on the inside line. If there's a bit of scrub speed off there, I'd have to say Greg has probably done this one. Next corner coming up will be Abby to left, and there's contact.
Marias doesn't want to let that spot go whatsoever, and Seitz makes it happen. P4 for Greg Seitz, P5 for Mateus Marias. What a battle there. Lucas Vieira, our current leader, way out in front of the rest of the pack here. He's getting ready. I'm not sure if we are at the checkered flag, and it is. There it is.
Barney will be waving. Yep.
Checkered flag out for Lucas Vieira. Misses last week. He's going to take the victory this week. Stephen Place with a fantastic drive for Team Radline. He's going to take home second. Richard Hearn takes home the win for the amateur division and takes home third place. How about that? Gets himself a double podium for both the race and for his class. Greg Seitz going to take fourth. Mateus Marias with a hard-fought battle going to find out fifth. Solorzano comes home in sixth place. Juan Moncada, after that incident early in the race, comes back to a seventh place finish, only 2 spots down from where he started. Not too shabby of a finish for Moncada.
Absolutely. And only Charles is the only driver of the 53 machine that was in the walls earlier that will be finishing that race for the 12 positions that'll be finished. And Tyler Brown and Diego, unfortunately, had retired from the session. There's your results on the screen there at the moment there, Rob.
Yep, as you see, Moncada took that 7th place spot with the other team, Radline driver, so he's still getting some okay points for the team. Not too bad considering the other Rust Racing driver, Horvana Shavorgian, finished right behind him there in 8th. Joel Jacqueline going to take the other podium spot for the amateur division in 9th place overall. Reagan is going to be there in 10th. Kansas Gentry going to come out 11th with Charles Krasik, Tyler Brown, and Diego Zuccarelli rounding out our field. And let's see if we've got a few of our podium drivers.
I think we do, yeah. I believe we've already got Mr. Richard Hearn here at the moment for the Elite West Racing team that has ended up finishing in the P3 position. Richard, do you copy? Don't think we get a copy there from Richard at the moment. It's probably just celebrating. Maybe not so celebrating because he did finish in P2 and just lost the place to Stephen Place. But Richard, are you there? Oh, he's going to come back in a minute. What a race. Silverstone always produces, doesn't it, my friend? You lost Rob as well.
No, I am definitely here. Just trying to figure out why I'm having a problem with our overlay at the moment, but do we have Richard Hearn?
He popped in for a second and he left. So, Richard, if you are listening to us, please pop back in, of course. And we'd like to hear from Lucas and we'd like to hear from Mr. Stephen Place as well. And maybe if there's time, too, from Greg to end up finishing in P4, because remember, Greg is crucial. Greg Science in the Rust Racing Championship leader. Which I'll have to crunch some numbers on that one, my friend, because he was on 418 points going into this race. Lucas 337. Lucas winning the race in P1 and Greg in P4. Do some crunches. And I think the fastest lap actually did go to Lucas. Confirm that one in a second. So 31.5. Yes, it will. So Lucas will get some points there for the fastest lap.
Yeah, I'm not sure why we are having an issue. Oh, and I see where we are having our issue. One moment,
you'll have to
folks,
drag him in the interview room.
and we will have your guys here in just a moment.
Are you muted? We muted? Let's go to the interview waiting room. Let's go to there. All right. Easier. All right. See you then. Hey guys, we're not live at the moment. We'll be live in a minute. We got a little bit of confusion on that one. So are you guys?
All right, folks, I believe we have our podium drivers ready to go in our interview room. Third place on the board, first place in the amateur division, Richard Hearn. Welcome to the booth and congratulations on a hard-fought race. You had the lead there for a little while. We were wondering how long you were going to be able to hold Vieira off. You did a great job. And right there at the end, Stephen Place got you just as you went off track. Tell us about your race, man. What an awesome performance.
Yeah, thanks for having me. I'm kind of stoked to be here. I knew I couldn't run Lucas's pace. I was kind of waiting for him to just make a move, and I'm really just concerned about the other amateurs. So I was just trying to stay on track. I've made a lot of mistakes this season, and I was trying to not do that. I got a little nervous. He saw me drop wheels a couple times, and finally Steven got by me, and I was just happy just to hold that spot.
So you got yourself a great points lead so far over Solorzano, and you did put a little bit over him considering he finished 3 spots behind you. What do you have to do going into Brands Hatch next week to seal the deal and make sure that you take this championship home for Elite West Racing?
I think I'm my own worst enemy. So I've been quick, a lot of races, but I've made stupid little mistakes, especially at the last race at Hilton Park. I really zoned out at the end and made a mistake, and it cost me. So I just got to just stay focused and just run the pace that I can run, not what I can't.
So Silverstone, what did you think about this classic track? Of course, the legacy version of it. I mean, you obviously fantastic performance because you're up against Mr. Lucas with almost a 7KI rating. You got Steven with a 4KI rating. You got 2.2, and then Greg finishing P4 behind you in a 7.1. So out of your class, mate, but not out of the classing masterminding results that you've done around here if you were racing in Silverstone.
It took me a while to relearn the track because I haven't run this configuration for a while. So I spent a lot of time out in the grass and in the wall, kind of learning where I needed to be. And I didn't do a lot of practicing, so I was a little concerned at the end on the tire wear. And honestly, when I saw Greg behind me, I was kind of waiting for him to make a move, but then it looked like he made a couple of mistakes, and then I was just able
Well, no,
to.
you don't owe that one to Matthias there, the Brazilian driver that was holding him up for a very long time. So Greg managed just to get past him. So we apologize, we might have missed some of those pictures on that one, but yeah, I think if Greg would have got him a little bit earlier, he might have been putting some pressure to you, Richard. But at that point, you didn't have to worry about that one. You secure that P3, which you did for the 70 machine.
Yeah, like I say, I'm pretty happy with that, and just to have a clean race and move on to the last race and try to put it all together.
GG's, any shout outs you would like to your team, family, friends?
Yeah, just so my friends, my mom watches this, and my sister and stuff watches it. I put it out there on the Facebook and Twitter, and also my teammate Chris Reagan. I work with him as well, so we kind of banter a little bit about it. But he didn't have time to practice this week, so I know he's a little disappointed. But man, you guys put on a good show. The broadcast is awesome. I'm just happy to at least one time get on the broadcast myself.
I play, yeah, for sure. And definitely more family members are welcome. And welcome mum and welcome sister as well. Tell her to get it, jump in the chat there and say hello to us. We'd like responding to that one. And thank you very much. So that is Richie Hearn you just heard of.
Yeah, congratulations, Richard. First time here this season up in the broadcast booth, and hopefully we see him here next week. Now we're going to move on to our second place finisher. Takes it right towards the end of the race, Stephen Place in that Team Radline car. Stephen, what did you have to do to get that car up front today? We saw your teammate Moncada had a big lockup, went off the track, and lost a bunch of time. He had to work back up to a 7th place finish. Did that open the door for you, or were you already sight set on the front of the field this afternoon?
Real quick there, Rob. I think we actually have Lucas in here, not Stevie.
Oh, we don't have Stephen Place
Sorry
in here?
about that one. Yeah. Where is Stevie? Stevie, mate, you got to come into the casting box. You got to talk about this one, but I believe we do have Lucas, of course, our race winner.
P2. All right. Well, then let's get to the man of the hour, shall we? Lucas Vieira. He's way ahead of these guys. We're gonna have to go back and go do the proper way here, Lucas Vieira. Another win under your belt. You missed last week. How does it feel with Greg Seitz finishing back there in P4, gaining some extra points after missing a week of racing in the crucial stages of a points championship?
It feels great. I'm not gonna lie. But yeah, I unfortunately have some personal stuff to take care of last week. I wasn't able to race. I know we have a drop week in the championship, so I'm counting that doesn't gonna affect my overall results. But starting this race, I wasn't quite sure if I was gonna make to get P1 because the tires extremely hard to manage on this car because we have such a combined straight fast corners like the first S's, and the tires practically melt by the end of the stint. So when Richard pull away in front of me, I thought, okay, so now I'm probably gonna have to push more, and I destroy my tires. But luckily, he made a mistake. I get by real quick, so I opened the gap on the first laps, and I tried to manage the tires because I know if I push to the end, I wasn't able to keep the pace, and it was really tough. I'm happy that Greg got before, and unfortunately I am sad because we didn't have any battles. It's fun to have battles with him, but I'm quite sure next week he will be extremely prepared for Brunset, and I'm looking forward for it.
Well, you were for sure the fastest driver in the field today, the only driver to hit a 141, and you hit a 141.58, 0.7 of a second faster than any other driver in the field. So you had the raw pace today, and we watched you just as you were going. Like you said, once you got by Richard Hearn, he made a couple more mistakes behind you trying to keep up, and you didn't just skyrocket to 15 seconds ahead of our field. You definitely had a more slower, more consistent pull away from the field. Is that due to the fact that you were ahead so far of Seitz, or is that just the manner of the beast today here at Silverstone?
I know if I push harder, I will open a better gap, but I was concerned about the tires. I know that if I practiced sometimes from some longer stints, and when I started pushing right on the beginning, at the end, I didn't have the tires. I was dropping off the tires, the times so much, like I was be able to do like 43, 44, and I was managing the tires. So if I managed to make a mistake, I still have a bit of tear of the tires to push a bit more. So I was just managing the tires, and I was concerned about it.
And Lucas, now going into the finale of the series, my friend, as a Brazilian driver, I saw you sporting the Ayrton Senna kind of esque helmet. You did everything you needed to do. So you put the on wheels TV racing car on pole. You had a nice battle there with Richard for some time there, and eventually cleared him. And then once you cleared him, you got that set the fastest lap in there, and you up the road. So those tire management was a little easier, I'd imagine, at that point when you don't have that much pressure on you. Now, going back to the last time a Brazilian driver had just had a championship slip through his fingers, of course you will, if they were Felipe Massa. Are we going to see the situation between you and Greg now? Greg obviously will be from the United States of America, so you won't have the Lewis Hamilton, a.k.a. 2008. But, mate, now crunch time. Can you win this championship?
I think I can. I hope so. I'm confident that I can.
Yeah, redemption for Massa, right?
Yeah, sure. We don't see the Glock here, so I think we can.
Yes, it's not that. It's that Glock. It could be. Is that Stevie? Is that Richard Hearn? Is that any of the other gladiators here? But yeah, I like to see it. And of course, I'm sure you were. How about your teammate as well? I don't know if you are communicating. Well, not your teammate. It is your teammate, of course, of Matthias, because Matthias held up Greg for a long time. Were you aware of that situation that was occurring there? Was that a part of the strategy for your team to try to deny Greg more points in this championship?
We didn't discuss this part. We discussed to be both cars on the podium. But if he tried to do this for me, I super glad. Thank you, Matheus.
It looked
I,
like it because Greg
yeah,
was struggling for a very long time to get past my friend. A very long time, and it was good wheel-to-wheel racing between them.
yeah, I'm glad if he did this, but I'm glad that you did it. But I'm not sure if he was doing. I think he was just trying to earn more points for the team.
I'll tell you what, if this comes down to the wire, of course, by separating the championship by a couple of points, you may very well have to go buy that man whatever cervezas that you get, beers in Brazil, because you may very well need it. Teammates may very well come and play. Any shout-outs you would like to say there, Mr. Lucas, yourself, GG's on the Silverstone win?
Yeah, sure, of course.
Any shout-outs, of course, to your friends and family? Anybody else? Sorry, that was the question I was asking.
Oh yeah. Oh, sorry. Yeah. I think I would like to give a shout out for quite a few. For my girlfriend, she's watching. For Cristiano, he's a friend who supported me since the beginning. For Arturus, who's watching really late on this time zone, and especially for you guys that put an amazing show, an amazing broadcast, amazing league, and I'm looking forward for you. See you guys next week.
Thank you. Torres was in the chat. Thank you very much. I was going to confirm that one there for a second, but he was supporting you all the way, which is what like see for a fan club, of course, with your girlfriends and families are your fan clubs, and maybe you'll be lifting that trophy coming soon. Thank you very much. Unless Rob has any more questions for you.
No, I think that is going to be it. Big thank you to Lucas Vieira for joining us once again in the booth. Congratulations on another spectacular victory. And we look forward to seeing you next week at the season finale in Brands Hatch.
See you guys. Thanks.
It'd be better if it was in Interlagos, wouldn't it? That would really be a heat of the moment situation. But it is what it is, Rob. And what a race.
Yeah, what a race it was. Once again, there's your results for round number 7 of 8 here from Silverstone. We come back live here on JP Broadcasting next week, same time, 8:45 Eastern Time for the season finale at Brands Hatch. And Brands Hatch is one of my favorite tracks, so I cannot wait to get there and see these guys racing there. I'm sure it's going to be an amazing show. If it's your first time here, make sure you hit that subscribe button. Make sure you hit that notification bell so that way you know every single time JP Broadcasting goes live with some action-packed races. And also, make sure you stick around and comment. We'd love to talk to you. We'd love to see you guys in the chat. And thank you for coming out. It's an honor to have you guys have us out here with you. We like watching your races and enjoy all of it. Well, Biggles, it's been an amazing night. Thanks for joining me in the booth as always.
Thank you, sir. Hit the and I just hit the like button. Thank you very much. The like button shows the support. Rob, what an amazing job done from the trailer again here this evening. Thank you for allowing me to join the casting box with you.
Yep, no problem. We love having you in here. Until next week, y'all, it is the season finale. Make sure you tune in 8:45 Eastern next week, Thursday, here on JP Broadcasting, live on YouTube. Until then, we'll see y'all later, and you have a great night.